from the Huntington Bank Studio, this is Colts 360.
Week 10 of the NFL season takes the Indianapolis Colts to Berlin. This is Colts 360. I am Lara Overton, joined by head coach Shane Steichen. Coach, talking to all the guys in the locker room after that loss in Pittsburgh, the resounding message was really, hey, we're eager for that next opportunity. We made some mistakes that were self-inflicted. We're eager to clean up. We know that's not our brand of football. How much did you hear that? How much resilience really did your team showcase as you got back into work in the building?
I think it was great. The team meeting, there was great energy in that team meeting. Obviously, taking ownership in the mistakes that happened starts with myself. We got to clean those things up, be better, learn from those mistakes, grow from those mistakes, and then get ready to go, for Atlanta.
To have an instance in which you have 6 turnovers yet find a way to keep the team in it late, how much does that fight show within your team that this is a point that you can look back to and say, hey, we grew because of this opportunity and the position that we were in?
Yeah, there's no question. You could feel it on the sidelines. There was no doubt oh shoot, this thing's going to get out of hand here. It was like, hey, we're going to get a turnover, we're going to stop here, we're going to go down and score, we're trying to get the onside kick here. And we did. We were onside kicking and getting some stops, and obviously we would have got the last one there, had a chance for a Hail Mary at the end. So the fight was there, obviously, but, the turnovers at the end killed us, and we got to be better there.
With the challenge the Pittsburgh defense presented, and that's kind of characteristic of what they like to bring, that's their hallmark, so to speak, what opportunity now is that to respond, especially offensively going up against Atlanta?
Yeah, I think obviously you got to respond and learn and grow from those mistakes that we made on Sunday, but Atlanta's obviously a tough challenge too. I think they're playing really good on defense right now. They got 2, premier edge rushers, 2 first-round picks that we got to be ready for. So we're excited for the challenge, go back to work, and get ready to go.
Offensively, Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce both go over 100 yards receiving on the day. The first time you've had 100 receiving yard game from a receiver, let alone 2 of them within the same game. How do you carry through some of that momentum going forward for your offense?
Yeah, I think you got to continue that. Obviously, we got into some passing situations there too that led to the 100-yard receiving. But again, we got to start fast, play complementary football, through 4 quarters going forward.
Laiatu Latu had a career high in tackles for loss, and sacks. Now has, I think, a career high so far on the season already in sacks. What have you seen from him that has made a difference in his production this season so far? Yeah,
I think with anything, he's going into his second year, and he's growing, and he's developing his pass rush move as an arsenal of pass rush move. And I think Charlie Partridge, our D-line coach, along with Raish and Kalen Humphrey, do a hell of a job with him, getting him prepared, and the veterans that we got in that room. He just continues to take steps and strides each and every week, and we need that from him, and he's just been phenomenal for us.
A couple of the vets in that defensive line room have told me that he's really spending a lot of extra time being intentional, working on the little things. How much have you seen that really come to fruition for him in the second season with those things he's doing?
Yeah, a ton. You can see it after practice, just working on the pass rush moves. You see him walking by the D-line room, he's in there watching film, working on his craft, and I think all those little things add up. When it comes Sunday and it comes game day, your preparation obviously is a big part of it, and he's preparing the right way.
Guys who have rotated within your secondary over the course of this season have been highly complimentary of Cam Bynum because of how he communicates with them and the multiple pieces that you guys have been bringing in. What do you see from Cam, and how imperative is it, the way that he communicates out there on the field for the receiver?
That position specifically has got to be, the communication's got to be at a premium. I kind of look at Cam as the point guard of that defense in the back end and just getting everybody lined up, formation adjustments, all those things, and I think he's been phenomenal. And then the moving pieces that we've had back there, the communication with the corners, and obviously Kenny's been a staple for us too, and the communication with those 2 guys, Nick Cross, being here too, I think that part's been phenomenal.
Where has this defense felt the recent addition of Jermaine Pratt the most? Because he has been rolling the last 2 games. Yeah,
he's a veteran player. Obviously that's seen a lot of football, very instinctual player, studies a lot, prepares the right way. And then to have him and Z inside, 2 guys that really get it and understand the game of football and formation adjustments and all those things, and the communication with them back and forth on certain things been phenomenal. I see it in practice, I see it in walkthrough, and then you see it on Sundays, come to fruition.
Looking ahead to Sunday in Berlin, the challenge that Atlanta presents, you mentioned a little bit their defense. They're coming off a 6-sack performance, and this is a team collectively that's really looking for a quick turnaround coming off consecutive losses.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for this team. Obviously, diving into those guys, looking at them defensively, 2 first-round draft picks at the edge with Walker and Pierce that can really go get it. And then Bates is another guy, the safety that's been around for a while. That's a hell of a player. And then the corner, Terrell's a really good player too as well. And then offensively, I think Penix is doing a really good job at the quarterback spot. And then Bijan is a phenomenal running back, one of the best in the league. So we got to make sure we're on it there, making sure we got all 11 hats of the football tackling. And then Pitts and Drake London on the outside are, two great tight end and a great receiver. So we got to be on it with the details, and our preparation's got to be on point.
It's a really cool experience to go over and play internationally. I know you've had a couple of occasions to do this. What is something you learned maybe from a logistical or football operations standpoint from that experience going over to Frankfurt 2 years ago that you guys applied to this year's process?
Yeah, I thought our process when we went over there 2 years ago was pretty good. Obviously, I rely heavily on our trainers and our sports performance stuff. Obviously, the time difference is a huge thing for us and our guys, so making sure their bodies and their minds are right going into Sunday. And then just making sure when we get over there, just the practices and how they're set up. Obviously, we got a long flight over there, being smart, when we go to practice and the things we're going to do in practice to get them ready to go for Sunday.
Can you explain a little bit of what that kind of operation is? Really, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are pretty much structured, but then it's kind of Thursday and what that schedule really is leading up to kickoff on Sunday.
Yeah, so Thursday, obviously, we'll get on a red eye there and we'll go over there and get some sleep on the plane. We'll get in, check into the hotel, do our thing there, go over to practice, team meeting, and then practice. And then obviously Saturday, it's just like a Saturday like it would be here, and do our mock game and have our team meeting and then go play on Sunday.
What stood out to you looking back just from the experience of playing internationally and what that atmosphere was like in Frankfurt, now having the opportunity to play in somewhere that's so historic, Olympic Stadium, and what that experience will be?
Yeah, I think it'll be a phenomenal experience for our players and that our fans that are traveling over there. And then, just being there in Frankfurt too, it's just a constant buzzing of noise during the game, and everyone's wearing different jerseys and representing their teams. And I think what the NFL has done has been phenomenal, just the globalization of the marketing and getting that done. And obviously, too, with the NFL, too, it's helped the NFL. I mean, we got players in the NFL coming from all over the place now, from a scouting, perspective, because guys are starting to play football in those different countries and getting them involved. So I think it'll be a hell of an experience for our players to go over there and experience that, especially in that stadium, which is so historic. I think it'll be a great opportunity for our guys.
Cannot wait to get over there to Berlin, and plenty of opportunities for our Colts fans domestically. Watch parties, everything here as well to take advantage. Coach, appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Coming up, some tight end talk. Colts Pro Bowler Jack Doyle meets the new guy wearing number 84. The rookie Tyler Warren joins the Horseshoe alum as Warren begins to build his own legacy in Indy. That's next on Colts 360.
Enter now for your kid's chance to be Junior Blue at the next Colts home game. Visit Colts.com/Meyer Junior Blue to enter today. Forte Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, proud orthopedic partner of the Indianapolis Colts. At Forte, fellowship-trained physicians and staff provide comprehensive specialized sports medicine and orthopedic care to active patients of all ages. To learn more, visit forteortho.com.
Welcome back. The Colts Audio Network recently launched the Jack Doyle podcast, where the hometown hero and horseshoe legend is bringing his unique perspective week in and week out throughout the season. And in this week's conversation, the former number 84 meets his namesake, Colts rookie Tyler Warren, for an exclusive conversation. Take a listen.
You're in week 8, week 9 of your first NFL season. Have you kind of found a routine and how you're studying film and what you're kind of looking at week in, week out?
Yeah, I think Tom Manning, the tight ends coach, and he does a great job during the week of showing us a lot of different looks, in the actual facility when we're in here meeting and stuff. So I think my process when I go home is more just kind of looking at the players I'll be matched up against, kind of the type of player they are and what they like to do. So a lot of it more is, scheme and stuff here with the coaches and getting that. And then when I'm on my own, it's more kind of just studying the players and seeing what type of guy they are on the field.
Well, that's well said, Tyler. I did the exact same thing. It's like, am I going to have more of a bowl guy at DN, or is this more of a finesse guy and I need to focus on my feet? And you mentioned Tom Manning. We had Mo on the show a few weeks back, and he talked about how Tom's a teacher. So there's no detail that's left unturned with Tom. He's a great tight end coach, and obviously I had him for a couple of years and love Tom. But we'll stick to the tight end position. All right. So I always had a preference, and I know quarterbacks kind of have a preference of what they like to throw. but are you more, you gotta have it play. Shane comes up to you, do you want to run this or that? Would you rather have an in-breaker or an out-breaker? Because I think all guys kind of have a preference.
I think I probably have done more outbreakers this year, but I think if it was on the line, an in-breaker, there's more room to make a play. An outbreaker, I feel like, is usually a harder throw for a quarterback. So if I had to pick, I'd probably go in-breaker, but been doing a lot of outbreakers.
Yeah, well, you can speak from the quarterback perspective. You've already thrown a pass in the NFL, and then obviously we saw you in college throwing a bunch of passes. I know you played high school quarterback, but yeah, I think I kind of agree with you there. I've always liked, I'd rather just run a basic versus man and try and win and body the guy up versus, those outbreakers, you kind of ball's got to be placed perfect. But you've made some great plays and great catches on some corner routes, especially down the red zone. I remember the one you had on Surtain, man, that was freaking sweet, man, just bodying him up and making a great catch. But we'll stop talking about you so much, Tyler. We'll kind of move this on. But something I've been really impressed with you is your pace of play. And I say that in, most rookies come in and it feels like the game's going too fast for them. But you just look so in control, man. You don't look in a rush, but you're still playing fast. Where does that come from? Was there a point where it's starting to slow down for you? Was that you felt it in training camp? But it's just been so impressive early on in the season.
Yeah, I think it kind of just naturally worked its way in. I think I did have my moments in OTAs in camp where it was, you could tell maybe it got on me a little faster than I was expecting. I had some bang catches in camp that got away from me because I wasn't really expecting the tighter windows and stuff that come at this level. But I think as a rookie, it's just rolling with the punches and understand you got a lot to learn, and I'm still learning stuff now every week, so it's been good. Yeah,
that's scary for the rest of the NFL. What you've done already, man, and how impressive you've been. But yeah, it feels like for me, I came in and the game felt fast, and then as your career goes on, you start to figure it out, but then your body starts slowing down when you get it figured out. So it's a credit to you to get this game figured out so fast and playing the tight end position at such a high level. But if you come on the Jack Doyle podcast, it's still weird for me to say. We got to talk about blocking. You have been an excellent blocker early in the season. I think that's another thing that's just a huge jump for guys from college to the NFL and being able to block these DNs and you've been doing some ISO blocks at from the fullback position. But I say all that to kind of talk about one of your teammates. I got a chance to block for Jonathan Taylor. I kind of want to hear your perspective on what's it like blocking for a guy like that who, the home run threat's always there.
Yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier for us because the defensive players are really good in this league. Obviously, everybody's really good. So to be able to just, hold a guy in his spot and let JT do his thing, and you don't have to, necessarily move a dude 2 gaps down. You just got to give him a little bit of a light, and he'll find his way through. And he's been awesome. He's a great dude in the locker room too, and an awesome guy to be around. So it's been fun to watch him run the ball. And I know all the O-line and tight ends are happy to block for him.
Yeah, he makes you look good. That's what I always said. He made me look like a way better blocker than I really was because of how he sets up runs and sets up your block. But we can tell, speaking of Tom Manning earlier, we can tell him let's chill out on the ISO blocks, Tyler. You got to do a lot of other stuff in this offense. Let's send Mo's old butt down there and do some ISOs.
Yeah, Mo's got to put his hand in the dirt, so I got to do all the moving around back
move stuff. But that's fun too. It's it's the hard part of the job, but then you get rewarded with some fun plays off of schemes off of it.
Still ahead, Berlin bound. Voice of the Colts Matt Taylor explains how the Colts bounce back on Sunday and what to expect in historic Olympic Stadium as the Horseshoes host the Falcons. That's coming up on Colts 360.
This season, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is teaming up with the Colts to shine a light on outstanding small businesses. Indy is our hometown, and boosting local business is just one way we want to thank this great city. Go to Colts.com/Anthem Spotlight to nominate your favorite small business today. Anthem and the Colts, helping Hoosier small businesses score. Satisfy your halftime hunger with Snickers and enter for a chance to win a trip to Super Bowl 60 at Snickers.com/halftime. It's time for the Fordham Credit Union Question of the Week. Daniel Jones leads the NFL with 2,404 passing yards. Who was the last Colts quarterback to lead the NFL in passing for a season? Peyton Manning in 2003 with over 4,200 yards that year. Visit the Fordham Credit Union Fan Forum section of Colts.com to interact with other fans online. Fordham Credit Union, helping members live their financial dreams.
Holy shit.
Wait a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. The Jets are trading Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts.
Picked off. That's Waller with Sauce Gardner all over him, and that heavy pressure. If you're throwing in Sauce Gardner's area, you better be sure. Intercepted. Got lost in the sauce.
Juice is temporary. You know, anyone can obtain the juice. The sauce is forever.
Sauce Gardner, you're gonna love Indianapolis. You're gonna love this place. We're gonna love you.
A breaking news edition of Colts 360. The Colts with a blockbuster trade at the NFL trade deadline to acquire cornerback Sauce Gardner. Matt Taylor, an all-pro guy who immediately is expected to come in and bolster this Colts secondary. What does he add, and what is the immediate impact of a player, an all-pro guy like Sauce Gardner?
You know, Larry, you've heard me say this enough times over the years. You know where I'm going with this. This is a premier player that plays a premium position. All right? This is a top-notch guy at a very important position on your roster. And by premium, I mean on offense, guys that put into the end zone, and on defense, guys that take the ball away and get after the quarterback, right? So on offense, you got to have quarterback. You got to have a left tackle, and you got to have premier wide receivers on the outside, guys that catch the ball and put into the end zone. On defense, you need elite edge rushers, and you need, in this case for the Colts, elite cornerbacks. You see that formula kind of play out every year in the playoffs by the teams that make a deep run in January and February. Those are the positions that they're solidified. So I think now in modern day NFL, most rosters are pretty much constructed the same way because of parity and the salary cap. The difference between the good teams and the great teams and the elite teams are top-end players. Do I have more top-end players than you, and are my top-end are my best players better than your best players? Sauce Gardner is an elite player playing a very important position. And so I understand what the Colts gave up, right? There's been some backlash because of the 2 first-round picks, and you also gave A.D. Mitchell up in the trade to New York, from the Jets to get Sauce Gardner. But to me, Larry, if this season goes the way we hope that it will go, this sends a message to the team that they're kind of going for it. They're 7-2. They're off to this terrific start. If it all goes well, you're going to be picking in the 30s in the upcoming draft. So who are you going to pick at a premium position late in the first round that's better right now than Sauce Gardner? Give me NFL-proven production over potential any day of the week. I know that's a long-winded way of saying I love this move by the Indianapolis Colts.
Especially for a young player, one who you're very familiar with, given that his college teammate was Alec Pierce. You knew a lot about him, obviously, through the scouting process, and then having a guy in your own locker room. And then also, it's a guy who's going to complement Mooney Ward once Mooney comes back from that injury, from that concussion protocol that he's within. So to have those two guys playing in complement will be huge. And we recorded our interview with Shane Steichen earlier in the week, so didn't have an opportunity to talk about it. So great to have Matt Taylor here. He's fired up. He said that immediately when we heard from him later in the week regarding that trade. But one thing I did talk to Shane Steichen about was this opportunity for a bounce back in Berlin coming off that performance. 6 takeaways, or 6 turnovers committed, I should say, by the Indianapolis Colts. What opportunity do they have going up against Atlanta on Sunday in Berlin?
Yeah, Atlanta has one of the best pass defenses. In fact, the best pass defense in the NFL, statistically speaking. They only give up 158 passing yards per game. They've only allowed 2 quarterbacks this year to go over 200 yards. One of those instances was last Sunday against Drake May, but they are very good at shutting down the opposition's passing game. And Daniel Jones, as we know, has been so lethal through the air this year for the Colts. And to your point, I think it was a very uncharacteristic game for the Colts last Sunday in Pittsburgh. In fact, the 6 giveaways for the Colts in Pittsburgh was more than the amount of turnovers they had in the first 8 games combined, only 4 through, weeks 1 through 8. So I think it's kind of a blip on the radar. I'm not really concerned about it. I think they're going to shore up some of the things that gave them trouble. Pittsburgh has 2 elite edge rushers in TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith.
Yep.
So you got to clean up some things protection-wise along the offensive line. Certainly Daniel Jones has to be better in terms of ball protection. But I just kind of chalk it up to, the Steelers won that day, and you didn't see a lot of guys in the locker room. You didn't see guys throwing chairs or, punching holes in the locker room. They understand that, they're still a very good team, and they have to learn from those mistakes in Pittsburgh.
The Colts are going back to Germany for the second time in 2 years. Mayte, you and I were there in Frankfurt, and now going to Berlin Olympic Stadium. The Colts are the home team. They are hosting this game in the Atlanta Falcons. Given the experience that you had 2 years ago in Frankfurt, what are you most excited for that atmosphere and this opportunity on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the stadium, right? It's a historic Olympic stadium. We know about the history there. Jesse Owens, the Olympics in 1936, and what that meant politically. It's 70,000 strong. A couple years in Frankfurt, it was a smaller stadium. It was a soccer stadium. This is a bigger stadium, I think more conducive for NFL football. But, I mean, the fans there are crazy. Like you said, it's a Colts home game, so there's going to be a lot of Colts fans. I'm sure there's going to be some people there cheering for the Falcons. But bigger picture than that, there's going to be a lot of people there just excited to watch American football. And so they get there early.
Yeah.
They're there 2 hours before the game in their seats, and they're, cheering over field goals being attempted in warm-ups.
Yeah.
And they're just excited over a 50-yard touchdown pass as they are an 8-yard sack.
They're like dynamic warm-ups. Yes.
Exactly.
They want all of it, every moment.
I mean, they know every word to every song. They're singing a Bon Jovi pregame, and they're just
John Denver.
Absolutely,
yeah.
That was a great moment 2 years ago in Frankfurt. So I'm just really excited to see just how, in 2 years' time, how much American football has grown. The globalization of football has taken over our society. It's taken over the world, and it's a really fun, unique experience and environment for the Colts to play in.
And everyone can still catch our Colts coverage on radio. Let them know how to tune in.
Correct. Yeah, early. All right, you got to get up early. The kickoff starts at 9:30. Our coverage in the morning starts at 6:30 a.m. So we still have all of our pregame coverage beginning that early, and then countdown to kickoff starts at 8:30. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, 97.1 Hank FM in Indianapolis, and then Colts and Falcons 9:30 Eastern time coming up Sunday morning.
So that'll be a 3:30 kickoff in Berlin locally, 9:30 a.m. for those in Indianapolis. You've got all the details on the radio coverage with Mayte, NFL Network, and then Fox 59 across Central Indiana will bring you that coverage. And don't forget to download the Jack Doyle podcast. That is available everywhere you get your podcast. Like, review, and subscribe so you can get the entirety of that conversation with Tyler Warren. That's a wrap for this week. We will be back post-Germany here in studio with an all-new Colts 360.